evening, film freaks. Welcome to this week's episode of Video Ferox, where we're on week 2 of Blaxploitation History Month. What are we watching? It's going to be Fred the Hammer Williamson and Drew Martin in Ashley, come here, I can't say this.
What?
Yeah,
Boss Nigger.
yes, Boss Nigger. Fine, you do it.
Tonight we're going to be watching Boss Nigger. So stick around for the trailer and we'll be right back.
They call him Boss Nigger.
They rode into a white man's town. Bringing black man's law. He's black. He's brutal. He's boss. Fred Williamson is Boss Nigger.
They call him Boss Nigger.
I just swore in your new deputy. Made myself the sheriff.
Being called a nigger in public. Now that's $20 or 2 days in jail.
Take your filthy black hands off me, nigger!
He just locked up the bank president.
Well, you all been hunting black folks for so long, we just want to see what it felt like to hunt white folks.
Part legend, part devil, all man.
That's just to satisfy your curiosity.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's my pleasure to tell you that...
Sir, you are interrupting our breakfast. We never discuss business while we're eating.
Where'd you learn to talk like that?
I've been wanting to say that to somebody for 8 years. My slave master said that to me once. It sounded so pretty, I never forgot it.
We got that nigger, let's go.
I ain't leaving this town till I gets me Jed Clayton.
Fred Williamson is Boss Nigger. Derville Martin is deputy.
They call him Boss. They call him Boss Nigger. He's so bad. They call him Boss. They call him Boss Nigger.
Alrighty, welcome back from the trailer to Boss Nigger. So, Ashley, did you like Boss Nigger?
I liked it. I mean, I give it a thumbs up since I'm the Siskel.
All right. Wait a minute. Yeah, well, that means I'm the fat one. God damn it. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up too. So please go on.
It's well paced. I wasn't bored. I sometimes have to, reserve judgment for westerns I haven't seen before because I love TV westerns. Movies, I tend to gravitate towards the same ones. So grabbing a new one off the shelf was kind of, I thought, wait and see. But it gets right into it, like The Searchers, like High Plains Drifter, and even a bit of, like, as you say, Blazing Saddles. So this was a good pounding one, and it hit all the right marks.
I think I liked the first half a little bit better than the second half, where it's more light and fun and kind of this adventure romp. And then after the second half and the back half of the movie, it starts getting kind of dark and grim and kind of more serious, like Django or one of the Dollars trilogies. I still like the movie overall. I still think this is a great flick, but I definitely like the first half better than the second half.
It strikes a balance. I mean, they definitely were deliberately going for the downhill slope near the end, especially where, the boss gets shot up. I mean, all this time he's been doing the kind of the run roughshod like Eastwood in High Plains Drifter. You're telling everybody what to do, roughing people up, giving free stuff to the Mexicans, just like in that movie. But then it gets into the dark part where they have to pay the toll for going through the gate.
So yeah, you liked it, I liked it. I think it's a very solid Western. You think it's a solid Western your first time watch. So yeah, we give it all thumbs up. Shall we move on to the spoiler section then?
Sure.
Alrighty. Spoiler then. Okay, so straight out of the gate, let's address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. The title of the movie, Boss Nigger. And I don't want to get this quote wrong. So here, let me grab what the Hammer actually said, the direct quote. In 1972, I had just completed The Legend of Nigger Charlie and The Soul of Nigger Charlie. I made the sequel to which you are about to see. I used the N-word to create sensationalism at the box office, and all 3 movies were a success. You have to remember that everyone who used the word against me in those films regretted it. Enjoy the movie. I approve the title and the song with the dialogue intact. So for the record, we absolutely do not condone the use of the word nigger. However, for the purposes of the review and because we don't believe in censorship, aka go watch all the other fucking video nasties, you know, if you're going to get your panties in a twist over the use of the word nigger, turn it off now.
I thought this was going to be an R-rated movie, but it turned out to be PG.
It's a fucking PG movie.
I remember when you could just have something and not make a big deal about it as long as you minded your business. And I think that having movies like this didn't necessarily hurt anything, although it did offend people, but it was addressed by Fred Williamson and by the press. It's always what we said in the past. Things boil down to intent. What was the meaning behind the title? Well, it was from Fred Williamson taking power back from whites and other races and other ethnicities who were trying to use it against us as a way of keeping us in our place.
It's like how the gay folks have adopted the word queer as, you know, it used to be, well, hell, still is in some places, pejorative. And the queer community has adopted it and said, no, fuck you, we're going to take this word.
Let's be frank, there's a big difference in how it was used back in the old days and then the way things changed in the 80s and 90s. And now today it's pretty much almost just when I lived in LA back in 2014, I used to hear the word tossed around by blacks all the time. In fact, there was this one grandma that was saying, you know, she says it all the time at home, and I'm thinking, well, what are her grandkids and their family hearing if she's using the word all the time? And I think Fred Williamson's contention that power be taken back from it also sometimes has a flip side, because when people start using it all the time, it loses its relevance. And I think it comes down to the situation.
Well, and it normalizes it a little bit. Every time we do Blaxploitation History Month, I find myself, at least internally, thinking the word nigger an awful lot, just because it gets thrown around so much during these movies. And I mean, no, I don't. The other 11 days or 11 months of the year, I don't do that. And of course, you know, I am very clearly not a racist. Go look at the other 150 episodes of the Video Nasty Project to make that clear. But it does normalize it to a degree.
It makes it not as stinging, but I think that in some areas where it's still used as a way of marginalizing people, especially in some more rural communities where people are not always eye to eye, or even some major cities where shit is taken for granted, that there needs to be some kind of, I think, a conversation in this country, as we always say, about it, that continually happens, but nothing gets done in regards to this kind of shit. But this movie is a reaction to the way stuff was going probably when Fred Williamson was a kid. It's probably part of the reason that he wrote it. You know, the things that he was doing in order to get a job in Hollywood. They probably had to eat a lot of shit. Spear Chucker Jones, his first part. But I think this has been a good exercise in airing all that stuff about the title, the movie, the intent behind it. And I think it'll stand the test of time, and it'll still piss people off, but it might make them think more.
That's the baffling thing. And again, proving that America and their censorial boards are just as fucked up as the BBFC and the DPP were. That, okay, this PG-13, using the word nigger all over the place. Blazing Saddles, on the other hand, using it as a satire, as to put the finger on racism. That's an R-rated movie. What the fuck's MPAA?
Sometimes I think it's a little heavy-handed, or maybe they were looking at Boss Nigger as a lesson, as a not necessarily a historical drama, but more along the lines of autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, and that they're showing a situation that should be taken seriously so that people can look at this and go, we shouldn't act like that. Whereas with Blazing Saddles, it's more street.
You know how they got away with this being PG and Blazing Saddles being an R-rated movie? Because nobody gave two shits about Boss Nigger. It's a small, independent, little movie from a little independent studio, and it just flew right under the radar. And they, fine, whatever, call it an R, well done. And Blazing Saddles, however, came from a big, it was
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers. Big studio, big name, Mel Brooks, couple of successful movies, big name. that's why it got the attention.
You've got so many people that these big studios support, and then a lot of the producers are going, oh, we're going to be ducking bullets if we do this. We better make sure that the right people see this movie. Whereas with Blaxploitation, it's going into the little theaters in those black communities, and you got the guys going to walk in off the street in their pimp hats and shit, or their apple caps and their vests and stuff, and they're going to go in, sit and have a good cackle with their girlfriends.
All right, so the movie is essentially, when you get right down to it, Blazing Saddles, except without the comedy. It's essentially a non-parody version of Blazing Saddles, where two, these hard-hitting black dudes come rolling into town, and they adopt the role of the sheriff, and all the white people say, "Oh, niggers!"
Basically, they come in hot in the trail of some criminals who killed a bunch of people because they're basically shitheads, and Boss and Amos, his partner,
Druville Martin.
They come across the dead and take a note that says that these bad guys were supposed to be, one of them was supposed to be the sheriff, in hoc with the mayor. And so they take this note as proof that whoever has the note is supposed to be sheriff, and finagle their way into being the sheriff and deputy, using subterfuge and the logic of this town against itself. This is like High Plains Drifter, where the man with no name comes in, takes over as basically the leader of town, and creates havoc as revenge for a misdeed in the past, just like in this movie.
And the thing is, what this movie doesn't do that Blazing Saddles did is that it doesn't really lean into the social commentary an awful lot. Yes, there's a lot of people running around calling, Boss and Amos, niggers, and there's the retribution thereof, but it doesn't really have that sarcastic,
"These are people of the land, the common clay of the New West. Morons."
it doesn't lean into that.
No, these characters take this one more step in that they completely take advantage of the fact that these people are going to treat them like shit. And so every time a townsperson calls them a name, or talks back to them, or steps out of line, they slap them with a fine, or they throw them in jail.
And the mayor didn't necessarily strike me as a racist dude, although he is racist like everybody is. But he seemed more opportunistic and more generically evil, as in he's exploiting the town more than, oh my God, black people, I must call them bad words.
The bad guys in this, the lead one played by William Smith, heads this gang of outlaw roughs who are basically shaking the town down. They want free shit. In order to leave the town alone, the mayor has to go along with their plan to basically just give them anything they want, anytime they want, and they come in town to get it. They, at one point, at the beginning, as we said, kill a black family, but leave the daughter alive. And she ends up in basically almost like care of a couple of the townspeople at Boss's request, and that's kind of going to turn into a love triangle type of deal later. And Boss kind of, cozies up to everybody in town to try and make the people sort of take it easy. We're the law, but if you screw with us, we're gonna lock you up. And they even go so far as to go into the back of the saloon where there's this outdoor seating, and they sit down and proceed to order the maitre d' to give them something to eat. And D'Urville Martin speaks to him in a more cultured tone that he said he learned from his slave master.
So when I said that this is a humorless Blazing Saddles, that's not entirely correct, because the movie does have comedic and fun and light bits, like that scene. Or my favorite bit is where the guy who, Boss comes into this tavern, and there's, of course, the racist good old boy sitting in the corner, and they're all like, "Hey, nigger, come over here and shine my shoes." And the Hammer, he totally goes full on step and fetch it. He's like, yes, massa, I'll come over and I'll do your shoes, 'cause I haven't done a shoe for a white man in forever. And he comes over and he's about to start polishing the guy's shoe, and he just pulls out a gun and shoots him in the foot. And then, they throws the good old boys in jail. Then the mayor lets them out because they're off doing other sheriff duties. And the sheriff's and the mayor's like, "Okay, this isn't going to work, man. Okay, I'm going to let you out." And as they're trying to get away, the one guy with the shot foot, he falls off the horse, and it was either Amos or Boss, I don't remember who, came over and it's like, "You tried to get away, huh?" And just shot him in the other foot, and then dragged his ass into the jail again.
Yeah, Boss is mean. And there is a good plot where there's this Mexican village adjacent to this town. And the townspeople are kind of, they're minding their own business and a lot of bad shit happens. But one of the women there catches the eye of Amos and they end up having a couple of tumbles in and out. And this adds to the comedy quotient, but it also adds to the tragedy during the second half where the bad guys are going through town and they know that Boss has been there, Boss and Amos. And there's a little kid named Pedro. He's the son of this one couple. And the guys come through and Jed, I believe that's William Smith's character, runs over the kid with a horse in this terrifying slow-mo shot. They don't show it, of course. It's all implied.
And that's pretty much where the movie takes a really dark turn, is where after the little Barrio gets attacked by the William Smith and the bad guys, that's when it just absolutely turns really dark. And then right after that, of course, we have basically the movie kind of follows the Django and a Fistful of Dollars trajectory, where they capture Boss, they drag him behind a horse, and then they it's like, oh, hey, look, the shoe guy, the one who got shot in both feet, comes over, it's like, I want to have a little payback on you, and shoots Boss in the hand. And kind of that exact same thing that happened to Django and the Man with No Name.
This is when Pedro gets killed and Boss realizes this ain't all fun and games. There's a serious part to being a sheriff. Not only are you taking advantage of all these people here, but at some point you got to step up and start protecting people when shit falls apart. There's responsibility. If you're going to be a sheriff, act like one for a change and not just be, the big ass, badass black man.
Yes, Boss, he wants to protect everybody. He wants to protect the Mexicans because they're the downtrodden, and he's probably sympathetic because, black man and all the white man oppression. So there's that. But the second the bad guys are dealt with and he gets shot by the mayor, the opportunistic mayor, and Drewville comes over and it's like, oh no, Boss, what's happening? It's like, and Boss is like, no, get me out of this town. I don't want to die in a white man's town. And the school marm, who had been kind of sweet on Boss for a while, comes over and it's like, Boss, I want to go with you. I want to go with you. It's like, man, I don't want no white pussy following me around. I gotta go. And he totally ditches her. So yes, there's that layer of I'm going to protect people, but it's a whole bunch of fuck off honkies, I'm out of here.
This movie shows off its locations. It's really well lit. It's well composed. Great editing. And the one thing that makes it true blaxploitation is the soundtrack. They were using that waka chicka waka chicka waka 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 music.
Yes, let's talk about the music because it is so anti-Western. When you think of a Western, you think of your Sergio, who did the music for the Dollars? Why am I spacing on this?
Ennio Morricone.
Ennio Morricone. You're thinking of that, you're thinking Bruno Nicolai, you're thinking your spaghetti Westerns, that sort of thing. And this is so anti... It's funky. It's funky, and funky doesn't belong in a Western, but yet it works. And I love that fucking theme, which is so wildly politically incorrect. But oh my God, it's such an earworm.
The music really gets in there. It builds up in the exact same way in this movie that it does in any blaxploitation movie. When shit gets hot and heavy, it kind of gets into the type of trope like Shaft or Truck Turner or movies like that.
So you mentioned the vistas and the editing and the excellent shot composition and stuff like that. I would expect no less from the guy who gave the world to The Incredible Shrinking Man. This was directed by Jack Arnold. And so, who is not the first name you would think of to do a movie called Boss Nigger. The same guy who directed probably about half of Gilligan's Island. Yeah, no, he directed Gilligan's Island. He directed, he's got a very impressive resume.
Damn, that's very surprising, I must say. That really knocks me off my horse, Jack Arnold. All right, well, I have to go back and look at more of his CV, I guess. Because I loves me some Gilligan. I got the box set. So I'm going to have to watch the episodes he directed. Although now I'm expecting every time Gilligan and Skipper come out, Gilligan! Where are you, Gilligan? Come on, Skipper!
No, he's got an impressive resume. He did The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Whoa.
He did Tarantula. So he dipped into the 50s creature feature movies. He of course, did The Incredible Shrinking Man. It Came from Outer Space.
Oh, I've got that one. I love that movie, and I almost got The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
So yeah, no, he has a really, really deep, impressive, significant, we'll call it that, significant resume. And then, of course, this movie. So there you go.
So he could add some real cachet to the production by having his name on it, and people would go, wait, this guy did, oh, I gotta go in and see this.
The Hammer, of course, he's not the greatest actor in the world. He's functional enough. He is fine. He does the job for the movie. He is, however, cool as fuck. I mean, so what he lacks in his thespian qualities, he absolutely makes up for in being a total badass.
This guy walks in the door, you know who owns the room. I mean, he exudes cool. He's got the cool afro, the cool 70s mustache, the handlebar, he's like the cigar chomping type. They'll just walk in there and go, everybody on the floor. I mean, he owns it. I mean, he got the hat and stuff. He got the stature, too. That's really important if you're going to take over a town. You got to have some kind of imposing stature and be able to back up that shit with action.
I think that Drewville Martin is criminally underrated as he's mostly cast as a goofy sidekick and kind of light and dumb and goofy and fun. And he can actually have legitimate pathos. And, of course, Drewville Martin and the Hammer, they have great chemistry together, which this is like their 5th movie together, so I'm not shocked that they play well together.
Kind of like the Abbott and Costello of Westerns in this, in a sense. And it just exudes this collusion when they're in it together, like when they're fitting people up to get put in jail. You think at one point Hammer's going to go, hey, just cool it off. But he's like, nope, get in there. They're kind of just wearing the town thin. But at some point, the Hammer is kind of like, what are you doing? Why you got these people? Why you got all these people in here? He says, well, you said the N-word, or, he blah, 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 and broke the rule and getting, okay. So they're kind of playing the town, seeing how far they can go and what they can get. And then when shit hits the fan and Boss gets perforated, it's Amos that carries him out.
All right, let's talk about the end of the movie. And I mean specifically the fist fight between Boss and Jed, William Smith's character. It's been serious and realistic and grounded, well, as serious and realistic and grounded as a blaxploitation movie can be. But the fist fight between those two is just a little weird, because there's that one scene where, they exchange some bullets. Oh, I'm out of bullets. Well, and he takes off his belt and throws it to the ground. It's like, well, you're going to shoot an unarmed man. And Boss is like, okay, we'll settle this like men with our fists. And they start throwing fists. And there's this one moment of the fight where they get behind the bar, and the bar is just like, all you see is the bar, and all you hear is the wham, pow, biff from behind the bar. And I'm like, okay, should I be seeing like a cartoon cloud of smoke and like just fists popping out of the cloud of smoke?
Admittedly, it gets a little dark in there. It was underlit in several instances. So they're against this deep red wallpaper, kind of like a burgundy color, and it's really well lit in one shot, and then the next shot it's wide, and it's really dark and grainy. And I was thinking, well, maybe they were shooting inside with some slow film, and they'd gotten the ASA like at a 200 when it should have been a 400.
We know from years of experience that exploitation movies don't have a lot of time, so it's pretty much okay, we're going to get a shot, we don't have time to light the set, oh, fuck it, okay, it looks good enough. So that's probably what they were running into, is they just don't have the money and time to do it 100% right.
And this goes back to a lot of exploitation films do, is the actors do their own stunts. This movie, Derville and Fred, they ride horses, they jump off, they tumble, they fall off things, they fight. They do a lot of things in movies like that back in the day with like fist fights and stuff to get really good wide shots of the fist fights, because maybe they're running on short ends and they don't have a lot of money and a lot of time in film. So they do as much as they can in camera and not always jumping from shot to shot, setup to setup, because maybe limited time.
When Boss actually finally kills Jed at the very end, oh my God, that was a savage kill. Just see, the gun's like 2 feet away from his head, and he's like, and he's like, yeah, I'll see you in hell, nigger. And he's like, that's Mr. Nigger to you, and blows him away. And I mean, it just looks slow motion nasty.
As we said before, this is kind of tragic comic, because there are some funny things that happen, but then the flip side of that is all the nasty shit starts going downhill, and then it just roller coasters for the remainder of the movie until Boss gets pretty much taken out. I mean, he's either dead or he's going to be dead, and he's on his gotten down on the ground. He's got and the mayor's about to try, take him out from across the road. And so Boss pulls out this knife and just, straight into the man's chest, and it's one of those knife and chest kills that instantly does a guy in.
My one regret of the ending and the fight between Jed and Boss is that when, instead of going, "That's Mr. Nigger to you," I wish he had gone, you know what I'm going to say,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. It's like, "That's Boss Nigger
Nigger."
to you." Blows him away. Lost opportunity. What you gonna do?
Yeah, and this is one of those intimate little indoor fights where you don't have like a big crowd of people. This is two guys in a bar just knuckle to face, just giving wham, 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 wham.
I liked the look of the movie too. The Old West town, it's not your traditional, like what you would get in Hollywood for the time. It looked like an authentic, rundown, shitty little one-horse town.
And we know how Hollywood movies work. Most of the time, a lot of these places are just fronts with some backing and some timbers holding shit up. But this town feels more organic, like the Italian movies, the Dollars trilogy or Hang 'em High or something like that. It feels like a place where people are from, not where they're going. So people have an address, and it's not just a bunch of people carrying out the typical roles. It feels more authentic.
The costumes looked authentic, and just every facet of the art design looks great for this movie.
I mean, it's solidly made. This is a movie made by people who knew Westerns. They knew what they were doing when they went in, and it wasn't just Hollywood gussying shit up for the backlot. I just appreciate the way this movie looks and how it flows and everything. I mean, it gets the thumbs up for me.
All right. I think we're done with Boss Nigger. I ain't got nothing else to say. You got anything else to say?
Nope, I'm done.
All right, we're good. There you go. And I'm trying to not use the N-word for the rest of the month.
Damn straight.
Damn straight. See ya, hunkies.
All right, Feroxians, that was Boss Nigger. So why don't you join us next week for our third week of Blaxploitation History Month with Car Wash. Dun, 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 dun. And remember, stay evil.
He's so bad.